so much for being here today where we inspire students through the power of space. My name is Eliza Maria, and I'm the organizer of Space for Students. Space for Students has been my dream for quite some time, and I'm really happy to see it become a reality today here at our amazing partner and venue, BeCentral. At the same time, I'm also a member and citizen of MoonDAO and Inspire 24. Inspire 24 are also our sponsors, and I'd like to thank them so much for their support. It really means a lot. Alright, first, it's my honor to introduce former NASA astronaut Mr. Dan Tani. What makes his story special is not just how far he traveled, but what he learned from it. When you look down at Earth from space, you don't see countries and borders. You see one planet shared by all of us. We invited Dan because he shows what can happen when you follow your passions and don't give up. He started as a student with a dream, and through hard work, he made that dream come true. Our next guest, Mr. John Bates, helps people share their ideas in a powerful way. He has worked with TEDx and has even coached NASA astronauts. We chose John because he reminds us that communication is very important and that everyone's voice matters. Now, I'd like to give the word to Mr. Dan Tani.
So, a year and a half ago, this 13-year-old girl contacts me on social media and says, I'm a big space fan. Well, I didn't know she was 13. She's a big space fan, blah, blah, blah. I love, I've done this and that. And so I just engaged with her a little bit, and then it turns out she's from Romania, and I was going to go to Romania, so I said, well, I'm going to be there, maybe we can get together. And so I saw her last year. Then that's when I found out she's 14 at the time, I guess. And she goes, what I really want to do is put a space symposium together or a space conference together, and I'd love you to have a speaker. And I thought, no, sure, no problem, because really, what 14-year-old girl is going to put a space conference together? Well, I'll be darned, she's done it, and it's fantastic. And so I'm so thrilled to come and support Eliza in her own dream, her own pathway to make a contribution in space. First as I guess an educator or as a message spreader, and who knows, maybe we're going to watch her walk on Mars.
Don't be the hero of your own talk. Make the audience the hero. Don't be Luke, be Yoda. So I think that we already got one great example of that from Dan. I now want to show you another example. So here we go, hold on. I'm going to put that there. So let me demonstrate what I mean by don't be Luke, be Yoda. So here we go. Let's first try it out and I'll be Luke, okay? You with me? Okay, here we go. Got to turn it on. Thank you very much. Okay, so I didn't hurt anybody. So, but that's being Luke, right? Now let's try it again, and what if I were to take my own advice and be Yoda this time? It would be a little bit different. Are you ready? Here we go. This is an elegant weapon from a more civilized time. And if you practice and use the Force, you could change the destiny of the galaxy. Okay, come on up. Woo, here we go. Let me get mine. Okay, whoa, yeah. Okay, bring it. Come on. Oh, whoa. Yes, gotta be careful telling who to bring it. Oh, no. Very good. Very good. One more. Wow. Excellent. Well done. Well done. Thank you. Very good. So if you practice and you use the Force, you could change the destiny of the galaxy. And Eliza, I brought this for you.
All right, right now we will have some Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, we have 5 or 10 minutes. So raise your hands and we will take your questions.
Mr. Tani, could you describe the feeling when before you just arrived in orbit, when those 3 engines still working, you have that pressure on your back and your body, and then suddenly it stops, when the oxygen stops, that pressure on your back stops. What does it feel like?
Sure. So the question is, I described the 8.5 minutes of big rocket engines pushing you into space, and you get to the point where you're at 3 Gs, and you're really moving fast. And then when the engines turn off, it's called MECO, main engine cutoff. And the advice that I had heard from the other astronauts is that at MECO, you're going to feel like you're being thrown out of your seat because you're being pushed back so hard, and then when it turns off, you're going to feel like this release. That was not my experience because we're strapped in with our seat belts really tightly, and so and then we're also very busy at that time. We have to make sure that the engines turn off at the exact millisecond to get the correct speed. And so we, at least in the cockpit, are really watching the computers to tell us how fast we're going, and we're anticipating it. We're all watching, making sure that it happens at the right time. So my memory of MECO is that it happened right when we wanted it to happen, so we were happy about that. And then we're really busy. At that moment, we have to go to a different procedure. We have to start safing all the engines and everything. So mentally, I'm really busy. So I think the physical sensation of MECO wasn't top of mind. It was great. We're in orbit, so we're relieved that we're in orbit. We're at the right speed because you can go too fast, and then if you burned a little bit extra, you'd be too high, etc. So so I was relieved that we were doing the right thing. The machine was doing the right thing. What happened was, 10 minutes later, my pilot, Mark Kelly, was sitting right here in front of me, and Mark and I, this was our first flight together. I mean, we were the rookies, so we spent the whole year training together, talking about how cool it was, and how did you notice this, and we were going through it for the first time together. And so Mark goes, "Hey, check this out," and he holds up his procedure book, and he lets it go, and it's just floating in front of his face. And that was the moment I was like, wow, we're really here. Because that was magic, that this book was floating in space. And then that was the emotional moment of getting to orbit. Even though I had been in orbit for 10 minutes at that point, the sensation of like, wow, we're here was when Mark held up the book. So I don't remember the physical sensation. I was told it was going to be dramatic, and it wasn't in my mind, because mainly we were watching the engines, making sure that they were working right and they turn off at the right time. Somebody over here.
Yeah, you were telling about swallowing the toothpaste.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, was that off-the-shelf toothpaste, or did they did something with the taste?
Yeah, no, you get to choose your own toothpaste. Well, they give you 3 or 4 options of off-the-shelf, Crest, Colgate, whatever you buy it at the grocery store, and so you get to choose which toothpaste you want, and then they just provide enough for the couple months you're there, and so you don't have to swallow your toothpaste. You have 2 options: you can swallow your toothpaste, or you can spit it out into a towel. But if you did that, we don't want to put our wet laundry. We have a place for garbage, but we don't want to put wet laundry away because you want it to be dried out, because it could get gross. So if you did spit it out in a towel, and some people do, then you have to hang it up and dry it out, which I think is grosser. For my mind, it was easier to swallow the toothpaste, and it's fine. There's nothing bad about swallowing the toothpaste. It's nothing, dangerous about it. Yes.
I thought it always was called NASA dent.
NASA dent?
NASA dent.
I don't know of a NASA-specific toothpaste.
That was in small and not that normal stuff we have. Toothpaste that is really
Specific to swallow? Well, that was not my experience. We got off-the-shelf toothpaste, off-the-shelf shaving cream, off-the-shelf razors and toothbrushes. As much as most of the stuff that we get is just off-the-shelf, because at least the American public would be really upset if they spent zillions of dollars developing toothpaste, or So if it's fine that you can just use the stuff that you buy. Maybe for Apollo, maybe for the early days.
I only saw a picture of it.
Okay, it might have been for the early days, but.
To go along with Tang.
Yeah, right. We still have Tang.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
the fruit juices that the bags of juice that we get is made by whatever company Tang is, but we don't get the orange.
Okay.
The mango, the pineapple, we get.
Okay.
You did some spacewalks. You did one from the shuttle and some from the space station. Is there a difference if you get out of the shuttle into space or the space station? And do you have a feeling of height when you get out of the shuttle or the space station, and fear of height?
So yeah, I did. My first spacewalk was from the space shuttle airlock, but it was when we were attached to the space station. And actually, we got out of the space shuttle airlock, but then we went up to the space station. And then my other spacewalks were from the space station airlock. The space shuttle airlock, you are in this you're in the payload bay. So when you come out, you're surrounded by stuff. And so you don't get that in the middle of nowhere feeling that you do when you come out of the space station. So even though it's the same danger, that you feel safer in the space shuttle, just because you feel like you're more enclosed. On the space station, when you come out the hatch, you're just all you see is Earth primarily, because Earth is down. And so, and then when you get to the far reaches of the space station, it's not height. You don't feel height, but you feel distance. You feel like I'm a long way from home, and you're very keenly aware that if you had to get back in a hurry, you're a long way from home. What's interesting is, the space station's big. It's about the size of a football field, a soccer field, and you could be out in the far corners there, and they have little signs that say airlock this way, this way, this way. And so wherever you are in the space station, there's a sign out there to tell you how to get back home in an emergency. So I thought that was kind of funny.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, if that's all, then thank you everyone. And right now, let's have the meet and greet.
Great.
So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.